The lighting in here is dreadful. That's it. I don't know how the hell it's so bright outside and none of it is making it through the window in a way that is meaningful to me. Such is the universe I live in. Anyway. Doodly doo. It's time for this thing. It's time for this monstrosity. I do not have enough room on the desk, nor do I have a webcam that is able to be moved in such a way that I can show this entire thing, unless I just put it up here. But this thing I found at the dollar store. It is the Disney 100 Deluxe Activity Set. Contains a whole bunch of things. I'm going to be honest. I mostly bought it because it comes with 8 sticker sheets. It looks like at least 4 of them are color them in yourself, which I enjoy because I'm a little weirdo and I like coloring in my own dang heckin' dang stickies. And I also bought them because I want to know what the absolute here a magic reveal poster is. And apparently 4 of these posters that it comes with are magic reveal posters. I'm also not going to lie. I am a freaking child, and I saw you can build your own cardboard castle. And I'm like, I like castles. So here we are. I don't know how long the castle is going to survive, as it is made out of cardboard. And thus I will probably build it and then be like, neat, and then throw it away. But also, this entire kit was only $10, and I am not in any way upset by that. Honestly, the main thing that we're going to be testing is probably going to be how well the markers work, as well as, like I said, what the absolute here is a magic reveal poster. I guess that is the other thing we're going to be testing. And I'm curious what's in this activity pad. So, I bought this because I am a freaking child and I wanted to, and you know what? We're gonna... Ooh, that's fancy. I just opened this. Let's see. I just opened this and they actually themed the inside part of the cardboard too. That's neat. Although that does also prove to me that this entire box is way larger than it needs to be. Yeah. All this back here is just empty space. Oh, and I guess instructions on how to build the castle in case you can't figure that out by yourself. I guess they hid the instructions back here. But, like, also, the only thing that needs instructions is how to build the castle. So, like... So that tells me that this box is slightly larger than it needs to be, which is mildly annoying. It's expected at this point, because everyone makes their boxes larger than they need to be, but that doesn't make it less annoying. I apologize for accidentally spiking the mic via crumpling the paper. But look, they did the back of this cardboard also with all the Disney 100 logo. So that's neat, I guess. Let's open this sons of my booshket up and see how this goes. Oh, hey, this is actually easy to peel off. That's nice. It's always nice. It's nice when I don't have to argue with packaging in order to get into things. Aww. Part of the castle popped out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that gets to go there now. Oh, they put a bunch of tape on the backs of the stickers. That never ends well for anyone who knows anything about stickers. Ah! Don't fall. Apologies, headphone users. I just realized that probably sounded very bad. Oops. Anyway, so that's how that was supposed to be. And then it just decided to pop out, which I guess is good because it means that the pieces aren't going to cause me to struggle. But also, like, you have a bunch of little bitty bits in you, and I don't precisely know what those are going to be for, so I guess we'll find out once I get the other things. I'm going to do the thing that pretty much every crafter does, and also pretty much everyone in my family does, and I'm going to try to put it together without using the instructions first, and see how that goes. First, however, I need to address the ridiculous amount of tape that they have in here. And, like, I get it, the point is to keep things from moving around, and that way they stay displayed nicely. The problem, however, is that you end up with this, in which it's all stuck together, and it's difficult to remove things, and you end up accidentally ripping things because there's tape everywhere. Yeah. Just this one piece had like 5 pieces of tape holding it in. And that is ridiculous. Especially since everything in this is cardboard, which means that having that much tape leads to this. Oh, here. Having that much tape leads to this. Where, as you're trying really hard to not rip things, you end up ripping things anyways. Now, fortunately, they were smart enough and they put all of the things that can be ripped on the back. And thus, they're not as problematic because all of the tape is on the back. That doesn't make it less obnoxious, though, is the thing. So I think we're going to start with building the castle because that is the main, I guess, draw of this. And that means we're going to start by popping those out. I'm going to put these guys over here. I'm pretty sure this is going to be pretty self-explanatory. Because it looks like you just kind of... I'm going to put the characters over there for now. And you can color these with the markers. Boop. But I think kind of the entire idea of this is that it's like a little mini photo set. This is actually not bad quality for like cardboard though. Like it's not bending a huge amount as I'm doing things, even on the thinner part here. It like actually takes a little bit of effort to get it to bend. So I'm not mad at it. I'm just kind of vaguely confused by it, which is kind of the story of my life, honestly. I mean, I feel like I'm in a near constant state of not being mad at something, but am being highly confused or vaguely annoyed by it. Looks like we just kinda stick these into these little holes. Probably be helpful if I put them on the correct sides. Because I think the pink is supposed to be the part that sticks out. Also, ignore my fingernails. I got this kit of like random makeup stuff ages ago, and somebody is going to look at my fingernails in this video and look at them in another video that came out earlier and be like, hey, those were recorded on the same day. And I don't care, honestly. I don't. But the magic of being able to schedule things on YouTube, everyone does it. I don't care. But I bought this kit of random, like, makeup and stuff for Halloween. And it came with a nail polish and I decided to try said nail polish, except said nail polish turned out to be one of those nail polishes that is washable and takes like just the tiniest amount of water to make it like come undone, essentially. Oh, good. Alright, well, there's a little flaw already. They didn't make these holes on the sides. As you can see, I've removed the piece from this, right? You can see that. This doesn't fit into it. It's not wide enough. It's not a wide enough little hole to slide these into without like a ridiculous amount of effort and without bending the cardboard. Alright, well, vaguely works. See, that side was done correctly. And this side, so the idea is, that's another problem. These sides are not tall enough to actually hold this up. As you can see, there's a pretty big gap there. And if you push it down onto it, it just pops right back up. Because it is not big enough. But we have a castle. It stands. Ish. It looks the same. The idea of the little platform in the back is so you can like set up your characters on it so that they can be looking out through the window. See? Because they have these windows and the platform is directly behind it. So your characters can be set up to be looking out the window. I just can't properly show you that because I do not have an over-the-shoulder cam. Oops. I might vaguely be able to show you if I can get this to... sort of. Alright, well. Honestly, the castle was slightly more annoying to set up than I thought it would be. And also, it falls apart very easily. Like, I just vaguely moved it and it died. Mostly because it seems like the holes are either too snug in one case and too loose in another. And because this top thing doesn't line up correctly. I don't know. Feels like you could make this yourself and it would hold together better. So that was a bust. We are going to keep the front part of it though, because I am curious how well their marker is going to, because part of what they advertise on the front is you can decorate your own castle, meaning that you're supposed to be able to use their markers on this, and with how glossy this is, I'm very curious how that's going to actually go. Because I have a feeling it's not going to work. Anyways, the other, I guess, draw to this is the sheer amount of fun characters that you get that are little cardboard standees that you can just have existing throughout your thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, these are the things that I'm most likely to end up keeping over the castle. Honestly, what I wish they would have done is, like, I get they made the castle pink because it's mostly princess themed and girls like princesses and whatever. I wish what they would have done was made it so, because this isn't that difficult of a thing that you could make reversible. So I wish what they would have done is made one side this blue, or this pink, but then made the other side like more of a blue or a white, or I don't know, more so that you could color it in how you wanted to, maybe. Alternatively, made it look more like a regular stone castle. So like more like the light white blue color that the Cinderella castle is. I feel like that would have made it a lot more inclusive and also a lot less obnoxious. And then they could have just made those 4 little cardboard, or those 3, these little things, the platformy do, they could have just made like one side pink and one side blue. That wouldn't have been that difficult. I know, I've done it. But part of the, I guess, draw appeal is that you get a whole bunch of these cute little characters all kind of in the same art style. And you can make them do little standees. And that was the point of this also being having the platform in the back so you could have them sitting in the windows and whatever. Is a friend. I also wish they would have made these standees like slightly different sizes, or at least given us 2 smaller ones for Sebastian and Pascal, which they didn't do. They made them all the same size. The problem, though, is that Sebastian and Pascal, because they're so much smaller than everyone else, they could have used smaller standees so that they weren't quite as ridiculously, obviously problematically sized. Just being honest, I feel like that would have helped. Oh good, this garbage is almost full. I say just absently as I notice things. Anywho, I do, however, appreciate the fact that they went through the effort to vaguely make the back of these look like wood. So they kind of look like they're game standees, but again, we have this. You just watched me try like 3 different ones of these. They didn't size the pieces very well. And like $10 for a pile of various cardboards and papers feels like they could have at least cut the cardboard correctly. Because that's essentially what you're paying for in this kit, is just a pile of various cardboards and paper. And like the characters. You're mostly paying for the characters in the IP, if we're being completely honest. We'll find out what the activity book has. But honestly, so far, I'm not sure of the value of this. Because, like, I know stickers are expensive. Especially stickers of, like, IP. But also, these sticker sheets are tiny. And you're essentially paying for the fact that you will now have an activity that you can keep playing with the castle and the little figures. Except if the castle doesn't want to stay put together without like a ridiculous amount of tape that I'm not going to bother dealing with. And the standees are cut in a way in which they don't hold their stands. You're mostly going to end up, especially if you're giving this to a child, with a pile of cardboard bits that are everywhere. And honestly, I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, it'll probably keep them vaguely entertained for a period of time. But given how quickly children nowadays seem to be made bored, I don't even know how long that would last. Boop. Boop. Yay! Some of them seem to be standing better. That's good. Yeah. Now, again, I will go ahead and say, at least this cardboard isn't the cheap, flimsy kind. Which means if you do manage to get one in which all of the pieces actually stay together, or if you decide to just get tired of dealing with it and glue them in or paint them or tape them in. Nope. Apparently this one is just, apparently Jasmine's just been decided to be like, no, absolutely not today. Alright, so Jasmine doesn't get any stands because neither of hers are holding them together. But if you do manage to get one in which the stands actually work, or in which, you know, it's not, or you just decide to glue them in, which honestly gluing them in wouldn't be too difficult. I just feel like you shouldn't have to, given that it's supposed to be like a kit sort of thing. But if you do manage to get one in which the things work, this is actually a decent quality of cardboard, which feels strange to say. But this is actually not a horrible quality cardboard, which means that it would probably last at least a couple play sessions. That's going to be obnoxious. I do not like the sheer amount of tape that they used in this. Especially given that everything in this is paper or cardboard products. Yeah, look at how much tape is just hanging off of this pile of stickers. It's ridiculous. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Only 4 of these sets are Disney themed. And that'll be easier to show you once I manage to get the damn tape off of this without ripping the entire backing of the stupid stickers. This is the problem with taping your stickers in Disney. You can't tape stickers in because they have a paper backing, which means that if you tape the stickers in, it makes it a lot more likely that you're going to have issues. Now, not just Disney, literally anyone that does stickers should never ever put tape on the back of them, because it's just going to lead to the entire backing ripping off on the tape, and then you're going to have more likely to have problems with the stickers themselves, because the tape is gone. So I'm just going to, as carefully as I possibly can, which is going poorly already because, well, it's tape. So those 2 sticker sheets are nearly identical, if not completely identical. Oh, they're not completely identical, but they are very similar. And they do contain some similar stickers, just in slightly different sizes. Stop ripping the paper. These are the ones that you get to color yourselves. Unless you want to just leave them black and white, which I guess is also an option. It should not... Imagine if you gave this to a kid, how disappointed they would be that all of their stickers ripped because there was so much tape all over the back of them. Because they just put a line of tape going all the way up the entire back of all of them. And only 4 of these sets are Disney themed. And not even all of them on here are Disney themed. And clearly they're counting each individual tiny itty bitty sticker as one of the 500 pieces that they're claiming they have on this. And I feel like that in itself is misleading, but the problem is basically everyone's doing it, so I can't just reprimand Disney for it. Where they're counting each individual sticker, or each individual bead, or each individual whatever little tiny things as a piece so that they can put a bigger number on the front of the box. But a lot of these have basically identical stickers to even some of these. And a lot of them have repeat stickers between each other. Like right there's 2 Cruellas. 3 Cruellas, that one's just slightly smaller. Right there's 2 of those, 2 of those. And Disney has enough characters. They could very easily use all different characters. Even if they were only doing 4 sheets with characters on them. Also, let me just show you how white this tape became. Of me taking my time, peeling gently to try to get it off of the back of the sticker sheet. Now imagine if you gave that to a kid who just wanted to get to the stickers. That's why you don't put tape on the back of stickers. Especially not stickers that are these cheaper, flimsier papers like this. Oh boy. I thought this one was going to be the kit that was going to make me the least salty of the 3 that I got. But it turns out... So... These are the only 4 sheets that have Disney and Pixar characters on them at all. They are not even completely Disney and Pixar characters. As you can see, some of them are just smaller versions of these. These stickers are the ones that you're supposed to be able to color in. I'm going to keep one of these out so that we can see how well that actually even works. Because I don't think the markers they gave us are going to be fine enough to do that with. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I don't think it's gonna work. Now the other thing that you're kind of paying for, and again, they taped the absolute hear out of this. There's 2 pieces of tape for 3 pieces of paper, when there should have very easily been 0 pieces of tape. But the other thing that you're mostly paying for is these coloring sheets that are covered in glitter. Now, the good news is the glitter is not transferring. So we have that going for us. The bad news is, because they covered the backs of them in freaking tape, you're going to have random thin areas in which the marker is almost certainly going to bleed through, because they decided to cover it in tape. And based on the thinness and transparency of this, and I know you can't see it, but I can see right through this paper very easily. That means that you're going to want to make sure that you're coloring on something. You're coloring on something else unless you're not using markers, and they mostly gave you markers, so they're presuming you're going to be using markers. Oh good. These papers have even more tape on them than the first ones. Alright. And like, I get it. They put tape on it so that it stayed nice in the box. So that you could see what you were getting on the box. Whatever. I get it. I understand that that's why they did it. That doesn't make it better, is the thing. There's 2 more pieces of tape on this. There was another one, except for it came off in the box. And I'm just here like, why would you put this much tape on pieces of paper? Also, I don't know if these ones are supposed to be the magic color changey ones, or if it's... I think it's supposed to be those ones? I don't know. Would be nice if they, like, said something on the back as to what they were. No, don't rip. We're trying to prevent that. I assume it's these ones, because they have these in which... Yeah, so it's these ones. Because you can see, like, the outline of the character, and presumably these markers are the kind in which as soon as you... But see, there's the problem with the tape. I was moving very slowly, and it ripped. There's no reason that these should have had this much tape on them. At all. Because they also, very easily the tape wraps around the thing and gets stuck on the actual good side of the paper. You know, because it's tape, and especially if you're trying to peel things carefully, when you try to peel tape carefully, it curls up. And then you end up with your poster being ripped slightly because they decided that they were going to tape everything in. I don't understand why they insist on doing things like that. That's stupid to me. And that's just all companies in general just need to stop putting tape on literally everything just to hold things in place. Use something that is less intrusive, please. Okay. So I have a feeling the markers are going to work just as well on these as they are on these because they are the same quality of paper. So we're going to do this one, that one. These I'm going to save. Like, tape only belongs on paper that is laminated, and even then, Like, this paper is lightly laminated. And you can see how much of a struggle it was to remove the tape. And it still rips the lamination off. Companies in general need to stop insisting on putting tape on paper products, because it's not a good look for you. Okay. So it looks like this activity book is mostly coloring, which makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just gonna go ahead. Also, I'm going to go ahead and be like, so I don't know if that translates well, but here, let me see if I have something I can. So it's not showing up very well on camera, but you can see right through this paper, which means if you try to use the markers that they gave you on this paper, it's almost certainly going to bleed through to the other side. And I'm going to probably show that via a scribble or something on this and showing you how it transfers onto this side. We're going to see. And then they gave you 4 random crayons and a random pile of markers. And I do mean random, because I don't exactly know what these colors have anything to do with Disney. They didn't even include a black, which I feel like is the most obvious color to include given the amount of Mickeys that are strewn about. They gave you no dark colors to use for any outlines. So, you know, they basically said, hey, good luck. Alright. First means first. Because I'm curious. Let's try the Urple. Will it stick onto this? That's a hard no. I didn't expect it to. It's a wax crayon, and it's glossy cardboard. I feel like that sound kind of shows you that. But I have a feeling that these, while they're supposed to work on this, are going to just smudge off basically immediately. Now, I'm not trying to color it in nicely, obviously. I'm like vaguely doing it nicely, but you can even see. I don't know if it's obvious on this or if it's more of an in-person thing, but you can even see the ink pooling in the middle. Oh yeah, I just blew on it and smudged the ink. Let me... Yeah. I'm sure that sounded great. I tend to just do things and forget that how close the camera is. Okay, so we're going to try to give this a benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to set this aside and let it dry while I'm doing some of these other things. Wish I hadn't put that all the way over there. Okay, well, what else do I have that I can use to not get ink all over this? Back of a sketchbook it is. I think. Yeah. Back of a sketchbook it is. Oh, look, a tiny vanny. Oh, look, another vanny. Anyway. That was louder than I intended it to be. These, I have a feeling, because you're supposed to be able to paint color these in, right? I want you to look at how thick the tip of this is and tell me how that's going to go well for a child trying to color these in. But we're going to try. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to keep it in the lines they provide. And again, these are glossy stickers, which means I have a feeling they're not going to dry very well. But, you know what? We're going to go ahead. Okay, so I was mistaken a little bit. Obviously, these really, really thin, itty-bitty lines are a little bit more difficult. But it's not as bad as I thought, because this comes to a decent-ish point. Now, what I will say, because I have used these similar to these markers in the past, what I will say is that the fine tip wears down on them quite quickly. And thus, it's not going to take long for them to stop being able to be used for these. For these, you almost need to have a fine liner in order to get into all of the bits and pieces. But I'm horribly mad at it. I am curious how well this yellow is going to actually show up, though. Not horrible. Not horrible. I'm not angry at it. Pink. The main problem that I'm noticing with these markers is that it seems like sometimes they just produce more ink. So like that pink that I just did just left an entire droplet of ink there existing. And anyone who knows how markers work, you can vaguely see there's like a three-dimensional droplet of ink there. Anyone who vaguely knows how markers work knows that that means it's going to not dry very well. I'm touching very lightly at first. Okay, the blue one seems to already be dry. So, surprisingly, this glossier paper doesn't deflect the ink. I apologize for how darkly I am in shadow. Like I said, I am trying to get the lighting in this room to work, but the lighting just is not going to work unless I get like an entire other rig of lights to put over here. Quite frankly, it feels like it's a little redundant to do that at this point. Yeah, so the main problem with this one was that it did just leave a three-dimensional droplet. And now to see how well they stick. They can join the front of the sketchbook. That's already obnoxious. Because of how cheap and flimsy this paper is, me just doing that, you can sort of see, caused a little hole. At least they stick pretty well, though. Alright. Not horrible. Alright. Pleasantly surprised by the stickers. They do, in fact, sticking good. Even this thinner piece is not trying to come up. And the markers do, in fact, stick to them. Surprised by that. as usually that's not how that kind of paper works. I've had more failures when it comes to that kind of paper than I have had actual things work. With like the whole color your own sticker thing. Well, that having been a strangely working thing. I'm not going to do any of the activities in this book. Mostly because I'm going to probably give this to my nieces, I'm going to be honest. Mom must be making something and burning the oil. And that's what it smells like anyway. We're going to use the yellow because it's the least likely to seep through, and then the purple because it's the most likely to seep through. I'm going to go hard and then light. And then hard and then light. And we're just going to see if it bled through. Okay. See. So if I had layered on any more than what I did, it would have bled to the next page. In fact, you can see where it would have started, but because I did it on the back very specifically so that it wouldn't be a problem when it bled through, because I did it on the back, this is a more laminated piece, so it's not a problem. So yeah. Now, for the one that I'm the most curious about, how well this works. And if you can use more than just the Disney markers on it. So I have these 3 little cheapo markers that I kept nearby for, I don't know, some reason. Honestly, I need to give these to my nieces too, but because I don't tend to like the water salt. So I have like a couple brands of water-soluble markers that I like, but mostly I tend to use like the permanent mark, like Sharpies and stuff, when I'm doing something that requires me to not do that. I also need to learn how to use alcohol-based markers better, I'm gonna be honest, but we're going to see how well this thing works, and if it works with more than just the markers that came with this set. Or if it's just a water-soluble color-changing ink. Which is what I'm guessing it is. Or it's just like the paper is slightly textured. Or maybe it's just a disappointment. Which is what it appears to be. Which is what it appears to be right now. Okay. So I'm going to try, because the marker did nothing, as you can see. The marker has done nothing. So it looks like, okay, it like vaguely did a thing. It looks like the idea is the middle part of this is raised slightly for the paper, and thus as you're going over it, it's vaguely making an outline, which tells me it should work with literally any marker, but it also means you have to put a ridiculous amount of effort into making it show up. Because it's the paper itself is textured, and I don't know how else to explain that. The problem is that in order to try to make it show up, you're putting in so much pressure with these water-based markers that you're making the paper peel. I don't know if you can see that, but you're making the paper literally, oh, you can even see through it, like where the light is coming in order to make it actually work. So I'm going to go ahead and say their magic reveal posters don't work, but we're going to see if they at least vaguely work with a different kind of marker. Eh. Nope. So these markers are actually juicier than these ones, which is mildly annoying because those ones are new. And even with the juicier marker, it is doing nothing. Not a damn ding. Like, you can vaguely see an outline-ish. The problem is that the way that they made this means that it looks like it could also just very easily be you didn't put as much pressure there. And you can see it slightly better in real life. But I don't think it justifies just not... You could have just as easily put outlines there and had it work better, honestly. So that's disappointing. So is the lighting. I'm gonna keep complaining about the lighting until I figure out how to fix it, but I don't think I'm ever gonna figure out how to fix it, at least not in this house. Anyway, that's disappointing. Honestly, I'm probably going to end up giving basically all of these little coloring sheets to my nieces because it's kind of what I bought it for. But it's still disappointing that it didn't work, like, at all. I am going to go ahead and go through them a little bit more. This one's honestly the one that I'm slightly more tempted to keep. But what I wish they would have done is just made the Urple one all villains. That would have been neat. Also, they did this annoying thing in which it looks like the E and the A are just white, but it doesn't look like they put any of the like magic changing quote unquote stuff in it. This one I was also kind of vaguely tempted to keep, but like, and maybe this one. But this one is mostly because I kind of love Ursula as a villain. Hits me having our Ursula teddy bear when they did that for the Little Mermaid. But yeah, that one's highly disappointing. That made me sad. And now let's see if this dang heckin' dang ding darn thing dried in a way that it doesn't smudge. Nope. You can see it smudging. Alright. So is this worth $10? That is a question, isn't it? I don't think that I would have paid $10 for this. Because essentially, you're paying $10 for a cardboard castle that doesn't stand up, a bunch of admittedly cute figures that are all made out of cardboard. Like, what I wish they would have done is at least made these out of plastic so that you could justify keeping them slightly more. Like, even if they didn't want to make the cardboard, even if they didn't want to make the castle out of plastic, they could have made these guys out of plastic. And that way you could have at least vaguely justified keeping them longer. And also, plastic tends to not have as many problems with the standees staying in, which, as of now, is a problem. It's definitely a problem. I was hoping that that little cardboard castle thing was going to actually stay together so that I could at least do like a little mini photo set with all of these guys. But it didn't. And also, several of them just don't stand. I'm gonna go ahead and expand this now because we're at that point in the video. So, would I spend $10 on this? Absolutely not, honestly. Unless you feel like putting a bunch of tape and glue on a bunch of cardboard figures to get them to stop falling apart, you're essentially spending $10 on 8 absolutely tiny sticker sheets, which admittedly will work exceptionally well in like planners and stuff, and a couple coloring pages, and a tiny variety of markers and crayons. And also, by the by, and I'm gonna, hold on, let me just check the box really quick. But I think they fibbed. Okay, no, that was my dyslexia. But yeah, you can tell even on the box that they photoshopped the color onto the castle. Which is your first sign that something is wrong. And this is also very clearly photoshopped, because this is what it's supposed to do, and it doesn't. But yeah, you're essentially spending $10 for a couple of coloring pages and some stickers and an activity that would be fun if it worked. Now, the problem with cardboard things is that you, if you buy it, could very easily get one that works. Because it's very easy to miscut cardboard. Which I feel like is right there is where the problem comes in. Because it's so easy to miscut cardboard, you end up with a product which can vary wildly from person to person. Which honestly should not be the case. I will, however, be putting these immediately into my planner because they are, in fact, the perfect size for that. And I'm going to get something vaguely resembling an amount of fun out of having this set. I'm probably going to end up giving... No, I don't think I'm going to, honestly. I was going to say I'm probably going to end up giving these to my nieces, but I don't think it's going to be worth giving them to my nieces when they don't stop falling apart, and that's just going to be more for me to clean up later. Yeah. So, I'm disappointed. And, maybe the next one will be slightly less disappointing, although I somehow highly doubt that. Yeah. I can't even move these little things without the bits coming out of them. That's obnoxious. Anyway. I guess... hopefully the other Disney thing that I got works better, because this is sad and disappointing, and I hate it. I was hoping this one would be the one that would be the most worthwhile, but I guess I was also hoping that more than just 4 out of the freaking 8 sheets of stickers was going to be Disney themed. I understand. I understand not making every sticker on a sheet themed to Disney. What I don't understand is making only half of them have Disney on them. When you are a big enough IP that you should have more than that. But, whatever. That was vaguely disappointing. And honestly, unless you desperately want the stickers for your planner, or, I mean, if you find it on sale for like $5 instead of $10, I would say $5 is about the amount in which I would spend for this. Reasonably speaking. If I wasn't intending on making a video on it, I would say $5 is about what I would have spent on it otherwise. So yeah. I guess that's all. This, by the way, if you were wondering, after giving some time, did not become easier to notice the designs in. So, sad. Anyway, that's all. Toodaloo.